Hello, all you ghosts and goblins out there. I am Andrew.
I'm Ashton.
And I'm Sean.
And we are the Night Scholars, exploring the mystifying world. Cryptids, ghosts, ghouls, and all things supernatural. Today, we are talking about the mischievous, commonly misunderstood symbol of Ireland, the leprechaun. How are you guys doing today?
It's been a long weekend.
Was it the weather again?
Yeah, decided to drop into the 50s for no reason.
That that will do it.
It's like, which I don't mind, I just wasn't expecting it.
It's always the weather for you, Sean.
It is. This section of Texas freaking hates me.
Yeah, it's up until today it's been like unseasonably warm. Like the whole
I mean, it
last
was.
like week or two.
I mean, that. What is unseasonably warm for West Virginia?
80 degrees in March.
Yeah, we hit 85 this week, and then it dropped into 50 the next day.
See, we're used to it being like 40s and 50s, maybe topping out at like a low 60 during this time of
Mhm.
year. We're lucky. But yeah, it's been like 70s to like low 80s,
Oof.
which I don't mind, right? Like I enjoy the warm weather. It's just I'm not used to it this early in the year.
What about you, Ashton? Have the weather been screwing with you over there?
I don't really pay attention to the weather, and I'm commonly surprised whenever I step outside to see what it's like outside,
Oh,
because I just literally don't pay attention.
you outside?
That's what I was surprised
Exactly.
about.
I go outside approximately 12 to 14 times a week. Once when I'm going into work, once when I'm leaving work, and 2 to 3 random times.
I mean, every time I've ever met her has been indoors, so
We were literally just talking about how we met at an Applebee's, so I guess technically that's true.
that
I
is.
think she might have a weakness to sunlight.
I think that you guys are implying that I can teleport. Is that what you guys are implying?
I
Uh,
like Andrew's suggestion more.
It'd be cooler if you could.
Right.
I wish. That would make life so much more convenient.
You've been holding out on
No,
me
it
all these
wouldn't.
years.
Like I would never be late to anything if I could just teleport there, you know?
Oh, I would still be late. Like, I don't try to be late, but I feel like I would just like put it off that much more if I know I could just like teleport. So I'd be like, I'll be fine. I have plenty of time. I only need like this exact amount of time and it will be real quick and then I'll get caught up in like the middle of doing whatever it is that I do on a consistent basis, being awesome.
No, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. At some point, you would just get used to being able to do that, and you would still, I guess, arrive late.
So the question
Indeed.
is, which one of you two is going to be late to your own funeral?
I think I was
Or,
already late to a couple of my funerals.
eh.
I
Andrew's
mean,
definitely going to be at least a day late.
it's definitely possible, and they're gonna have to make a pretty big casket
That's
if we,
assuming that
yeah, if we go that route.
whatever cryptid, yeah, whatever cryptid that finally gets you leaves enough of you.
Oh, we'll
What
see
I'm
if
curious
I leave
about is
enough
if the
of it, buddy.
leprechaun. What I'm curious about is if it's the leprechaun that's gonna get to you.
I think Andrew could probably take a leprechaun.
I don't know. You don't mess with the Fae.
True, but it's like one of the lesser Fae.
It it is. Its origin story's a bit strange because it's I guess this water spirit that combined with a house, what they call a house fairy or house fae. I'm
Yeah,
really not really sure of the power scaling. I mean, it's definitely
I
somewhere below the unseelie court for sure. But
yeah, we don't want to deal with that. I don't even know if we should do an episode about them. They're a bit messy.
yeah,
And
very interesting though.
it also depends on which origin story we want to go with too, because there are some that equate him leprechauns to being like the personification basically of Mercury, the god Mercury, or Pan.
I could see Pan doing that. I think he would, being a leprechaun, I think he would get some amusement out of it. I think I saw one that was a reference to Loki. Not entirely sure about it. One thing I was able to find, not so much origin stories, but that almost every region in Ireland has a different name for it.
Yeah.
Yes, and all of them tend to claim that their name for it and the origins of the name are the most accurate.
Yeah,
Like, at
it's
some point, I just gave up taking notes. I'm like, there are so many of these.
there were some wild names too. I'd never heard of some of those spellings, but I should have written some of them down. But they were, it was interesting to see just how
I mean,
much variety there is on this thing.
to be fair, us as English speakers looking at Gaelic, the spelling is just gonna look weird to us.
Ah, that's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, I was listening to a documentary by somebody who claimed to be a doctor who was going through PBS, and I don't really know if she's a doctor in like cryptology or exactly what she is a doctor in, but she did say that linguists have determined that the most likely origin is borrowed from Latin,
That makes
and
sense.
that yeah, because it was this kind of like weird tradition on the fifth, like every 15th of February in ancient Rome, there was a festival called Lupercalia, where priests known as Luperci would gather at the Lupercal cave at the base of the Palatine Hill in Rome, make a
Hmm.
sacrifice of a goat, make a thong, which I'm not exactly sure what this like thong was or if I misheard her, but it was like something to use to like hit people, and they would run around naked hitting people with this. And some women would even like line up because leprechauns are known for gifts and like fertility, so like they would just like line up to be hit by these like naked like luperci. And like it was banned, like they started like super demonizing it like when like paganism was banned in Rome, but then like 100 years later like the Pope in 494 AD had to like denounce the practice, and I'm sure they still did it because the Senate was just like, this is a vital thing to like the well-being of our people, so you can't like cancel these naked luperci running around hitting people. And I think that's fun.
That
I
is the
like that
most
origin.
chaotic origin I have ever heard of leprechauns, and that is the one I am going to officially declare as the origin. No other origin can be as good
Yeah.
as
Well, it's
leprechaun.
not it's not the origin of leprechauns, it's the origin of the name leprechaun.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
There, no other name can be at no other origin for their name can be as great as that. What do you think,
Yeah.
Andrew? You got a better name origin?
No, nothing that, no.
That's just
One I have is looking at looking at my notes here is like leprechaun, which just means small body. Sorry, notes. Lucorpon. Lutrapon. Don't know how to
Yes.
it
pronounce
has
that.
nothing to do with the great god Pan.
I don't know, but it means which translates to small body.
Well,
Uh
the first part of it does, and the second part does reference Pan.
yeah. But it is
Yeah.
back in the 8th century, it is what the water spirits I was talking about were called. They, mixed with, the house fairies to turn into the leprechaun.
Yeah, I did think that that was kind of interesting that, like, they were seen to they were seen to live, like, underwater for at least, like, part of the year, and there's, like, a bunch of different, like, references back to it, and I thought it was kind of interesting that being able to live under the water and, like, water was kind of like this symbolizing factor of being able to travel between worlds.
Yeah. It is also apparently, some people
That
claim
is
that it comes from the term Leith Brogan, 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 which
I
means
saw that
shoemaker.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be one of, like,
There's
very few things that are actually, common attributes. Like there's so many different like things about them, but the profession of shoemaker is typically there. Them being wise and being male and being a few inches to a couple of feet tall.
Yes, there's no stories of there being like a female.
So they don't
Well,
have their own
that's not
version of
entirely
Perfect.
true because it depends on what it is. Because I know in the Artemis Fowl books, leprechaun was actually the word for a SWAT team. There was a female officer.
Yes, but I mean of the mystical fey creature we're talking about. There's no account of there ever being a female uh leprechaun fey.
No, I just
Other
I
types
didn't
of
think so.
fey, yes.
I just had to throw in that great thing about Artemis Fowl. Leprechaun, literally.
So Andrew, you mentioned the fact that they are like kind of known as like water spirits,
Yeah.
and they kind of come from, I don't know if this is actually like a name for leprechauns or if it's just kind of like a derivative of like them, but that tends to come from them being seen as like Fumorians,
Yeah.
which means beneath the sea.
Yeah.
And I found a good story. I can't remember exactly where it was from, but it's about this man named Fergus. And
Good name.
very good name.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a king that falls asleep by the ocean and finds himself being dragged into the ocean by the in the story it's Leprechaun. And the king is able to catch them by his hands and they beg for their lives, which we'll get into that. And he demands three wishes from them. And in this story, he asks to be able to breathe underwater, and he ends up spending his days with them underwater, and they warn him to not go beneath a particular lake, but he eventually grows curious and ignores them and ends up getting like disfigured by the sight of a terrible monster.
Hmm.
And it like distorted his face for like his mouth like moved to the side of it. And it's kind of like one of those things that I thought was kind of a curious story because leprechauns are kind of known for if you catch them, you can either trade gold with them or they'll give you like their gold in exchange for it, but they'll most often try to trick humans into going for three wishes instead. And during those three wishes, there's like a whole bunch of different accounts for like they try to trick humans into doing something that will allow for their escape so they don't actually have to fulfill everything for them.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a fun story of like another one that's like Akfan, who is seen like sailing a boat without oars. And he's also associated with the bard of Luke Levada, I think is the name how you pronounce it. But anyway,
Sounds right.
so he's caught and he's telling him all about these like magic items that he has and like all of the things that they do. And Akfan is like, or sorry, whoever it is that catches them is just like, well, what about that harp? And he's like, oh, this harp, like, let me show you what it does. And it ends up like lulling like the human to sleep and they're able to escape. But did you guys run into that with because I thought that was kind of interesting that they are known for having kind of like all of these magic items that have all of these different things. Do you guys have anything on that?
I didn't find anything about magic items. Mostly, I found that they would grant wishes, but you had to be very specific with them, kind of wishes. As otherwise, they try and sneak their way out of them, or just play like a little prank on you with the wishes.
Yeah, kind of like the monkey's paw.
Not quite as malicious as the monkey's paw, but yes.
Yeah. I have down that they have like a spear that's supposed to be able to like conquer all enemies. They have like this cauldron and they just have like a whole bunch of different items that have protecting powers and so on. And most of the items that they have are recognized to like belong to gods. And I know that there are like some accounts of leprechauns where they're just kind of like lesser gods. I think you were hinting at that earlier, Andrew.
Well,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
yes, or yes. I mean, like the Fae. Yes, I suppose you're right.
Yeah.
I suppose you could call Pan a lesser god.
You said
It's
it,
not
not
one.
me.
I mean, he's
I know.
more Pan is more similar to the Satyr, like even in like recent urban legend, the Goat Man, more so than leprechauns, I think.
Although it was said that, or I think you said that they can be kind of seen as being like mean. Did you
Uh-huh.
want to go into that further?
Uh, I didn't really have any specifics on them being mean. It was just a couple references. As I'm assuming it's like most creatures that you capture or that you mentioned, they're going to do everything they try to escape, ape, including making your life hell.
Yeah, so we as Americans most often see the leprechaun like kind of in like that green outfit with like the buckled shoes and like the hat, and that's kind of how like we associate with him. But there are like other accounts of him like wearing red, which relates to the Fardarig, which also means the red man. And in some tales it's seen as like a lot more mean. And I think that came about like in the 5th century, which a lot of different things like the leprechaun is very much associated with paganism, and this is part of like the anti-pagan uh kind of like push.
Yeah, I would definitely say that those fed into the trope. Tropes. Tropes. I can see that being people see the leprechaun, see it being the belligerent, and just assume um, that it's based off of reality.
Yeah, and like what's interesting is that it might not even be um characteristic of the leprechaun. It's just uh I don't know which region has this or if it's an alternate name, but it's like the Chloricon. And they're the type of like leprechaun like folklore that are known for stealing liquor from merchants and getting very drunk, which I think we
Mhm.
also tend to in our American ways kind of think that that is part of Irish culture with how big St. Patrick's Day is for the green beer and just getting absolutely wasted by most people. I didn't
Mhm.
really see anything on why exactly St. Patrick's and the leprechauns really kind of blended together. Do either of you have something on that to elaborate on?
I think it's just a very American thing, mixing the two together because they're both things from Irish culture, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we just kind of mix the two
There.
together because that's what Americans do, I guess. We just kind of jam stuff that's maybe only kind of loosely associated together, and then say, hey,
Mhm.
that's that thing.
That's exactly how we do it.
Yeah, I don't think there was any like real work put into it. I just think that's just kind of what we did because that's what we do, you know.
Yeah. So you're telling me that St. Patrick wasn't a leprechaun?
As far as I know, he
Probably
wasn't.
not.
I also saw accounts of how some people believe that leprechauns might have actually been like a real race of people that like people just believed were true. Like it had to do with like dynasty dynamics in like early Ireland, where like the
That
ruling
I
family was like allegedly all from like the same like descendants, and they might have actually just been like people with like shorter statures and just associated with this. I don't really know, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
how short a stature we've seen. You're talking because I saw in one thing that leprechauns have been found to be as small as an inch high.
Well, according to the 1824 poem by William Allingham, they are a span and a quarter.
You got the modern measurement for a span because I don't remember it off the
I
top of
don't
my
remember
head.
it either.
I have absolutely no idea. I
How
don't think I've
close is
ever
that
heard
to a
of
cubit, or how close is that to a hand?
exactly. I'm
Let's
glad we're all in
see.
agreement of the height.
Yep.
Here we go. 22.86 centimeters.
Like I said, a span and a quarter.
Okay.
That's like a foot, isn't it? That's pretty big.
Not quite. 9 inches.
Yeah, close enough.
I mean, that's
So
what it
about a
says
foot.
on Andrew's dating profile. I'm close enough to this height.
No, I am actually 6'3".
Oh, that's definitely enough to take on the leprechaun.
But can Andrew catch it?
That's a good question.
You're
We
not
don't
the average man, so
know, but I'm also not Wally West or Barry Allen.
that's true.
Hey, he was wearing red.
What, you saying Wally West is a leprechaun?
Oh no, Barry Allen. Wally West wore well, I guess it depends on which comic you look at, because in some of them he started out as Kid Flash, right? And he had the yellow and red
Yeah.
before moving on to the red suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it
What
could
about
be.
Jay Allen?
I don't think that was
The
technically his
golden
name.
age.
Was that technically his name? Was it Jay Allen or was it Garrick? You know what I'm talking about? Jay Garrick?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Jay Allen. I'm sure one of our nerdier listeners will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got talking about that. But yeah, I don't know if I could catch a leprechaun. I mean, if I do catch it, though, that means I get 3 wishes, right?
I think that it
I
would be
only saw
better
one.
to do money.
I would take the pot of gold. If that was an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah, because they will try to talk you into the 3 wishes, and that's only because they are very mischievous and distilled with dishonesty.
You know, I've got 7 different movies that say taking the gold is a really bad idea. And there
Well,
are
I
7
have actual
amazing
facts
movies.
that say screw your opinion, Sean.
I'm sorry, are you saying that Leprechaun is not based off of true stories?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You said 7 movies. I thought there were only 6 leprechaun movies.
Origins in 2014.
Oh, okay. I didn't count that.
Fair enough. I think
Yes,
Ashton is trying to discredit the greatness that is Leprechaun.
I have not watched Leprechaun. Can you tell me all about it in about 1 minute or less?
Don't steal his gold, or he'll kill you with the pogo stick.
How does he kill people exactly? Like with it? Can you go into detail?
Yeah, he started bouncing up and down on their face with the pogo stick. It was great.
Wow. It's crazy how like all of my research never told me anything about pogo stick. Is this like a new
It was
development?
what was available to him at the time. But you said it yourself. He has magical items. You saying he can't just use whatever's available and make it a magical item?
Look, I know that they're really good shoemakers.
Yeah.
That's true.
It just makes
They're
a big
crafty.
shoe and like chases them around with it like they're flies.
Yeah, just adds like a little like pogo stick capability to a shoe.
Yeah. Spring
That's it.
shoes.
I would wear
Isn't
pogo
that what moon boots
I would-
are?
pretty much. So
So was this any different than the little leprechaun for Lucky Charms? Because I feel like he's pretty sketchy.
Oh, very different.
he's absolutely.
No, the one we're talking about is the one in the horror movie. He's like, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. And I wouldn't want to mess with him personally. I
Are
don't.
you telling me that the guy on the box of Lucky Charms would not also kill people with a pogo stick?
Nah, no,
He'd use a pogo
he'd
stick.
probably just use giant marshmallows.
I think he
See,
would turn
Sean,
people into marshmallows.
Yeah.
I don't think that Andrew can take on a Leprechaun because he trusts the guy on the Lucky Charms box.
Come on, Andrew.
I mean, he's a lot
First, you
better
want to
than that
befriend this.
shady rabbit on the tricks box.
Hey, that rabbit has done nothing wrong to anybody.
Look, according to the Aesop's fable, Hermes did give them a lot of dishonesty, so I don't think that I can trust a single leprechaun.
And that's fair. Plus, they're the Fae. You're not really supposed to make deals with the Fae in general.
Yeah, are they fae or fairy?
Kind of the same thing.
Okay.
I might.
Sorry,
'Cause, yeah, I saw something where
negligible
they-
difference.
Okay, because I saw something where they're like known as like the most industrious ones
Yeah. Because like
because they're very good at their profession.
yeah, like the way fairy is spelled is like Fae I or RIE. I think is the Celtic spelling of it. It's weird, but
That's okay. We understand that you grew up in West Virginia
I did.
and that spelling's difficult.
It can be. Also, like autocorrect and spell check, and now Grammarly has like ruined my ability to spell.
I'm sure it did, buddy.
Oh, it did.
So apart from those two, where else have you seen this pop up in pop culture?
There was a movie, I think it was on Disney Channel back in the day. It was Luck of the Irish.
Oh
My
yeah.
wife loves that movie. I
Yeah,
haven't seen
he
it.
has like the coin that's like on a necklace, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't remember what happens in it. Like, doesn't he like turn into a leprechaun? I just remember liking it.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened in it either.
And
I
what's the deal with the coin? Because
mean, it's magical. I think someone in
oh,
his
okay.
family was a leprechaun, or they got it from a leprechaun, or something.
Yeah, I think both of his parents are leprechauns.
Something like that.
Or at least his mom is a leprechaun, which I guess is one of the female leprechauns.
Yeah, so that's only pop culture. According like to the actual folklore of it, there's not been one that I've seen. Which I don't know why there's not, because in the whole fairy fae realm of things, like there are plenty of female presenting fae or fairies.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. What are some other?
I
I've
just the
read
only
more
ones
than
I
just the
know are
artemis.
the the Warwick Davis movies, the
Great movies.
yep, the Luck
Very
of the
well researched
Irish.
movies too.
You say so. I mean, the only way to kill it is what, like was it putting it in like a bunch of four-leaf clovers or something, right? Isn't that how you beat it?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I
Also,
mentioned the.
how did that start? How did they get associated with the four-leaf clover?
I couldn't find any connection between them in my
Is it
research,
just
so I think
because like clover was more common in Ireland and it was viewed as lucky there, and so when it came to America, it all kind of got mixed in together as all Irish things? Like St. Patrick's
wouldn't
Day is just
surprise
the
me
day we celebrate anything Irish.
too much.
I guess so. Because I guess everything that I've mentioned is kind of like more of like the mischievous side, but I know that they're also known for bringing luck. Like they
Yes.
can make relations with people and will sometimes actually like willingly lead them to their treasure or they will work for them. But I don't
Yeah.
really know much about their association with luck.
I mean, I don't too much, to be honest.
They just
Um,
they kind of just are associated with luck. That's all I
yeah.
could find. I couldn't find why they just are.
I mean, they're fairies. I mean, like the house fairies too can be associated with good fortunes or luck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of just goes back to belief in the fairies, the fae.
I do believe in fairies.
Yeah.
All right, Hook.
Just have to say that in case they're dying and giving a little bit of extra luck into the world.
No, is that kind of like Tinkerbell? If you don't,
Yes,
if you don't,
that was exactly what I was
yeah, if you
referencing.
don't believe in her, she can't fly or
Yep.
something like that.
She
Something.
dies.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
she
do
also
believe in
wore green.
fairies.
Is she a leprechaun?
No,
Ooh, now there's a
she's
thought.
female, and leprechauns don't have wings.
That's true. I have not seen any depiction of them with wings.
Nope, they kind of just float.
Those are just the Buddhist ones, though.
That was bad, and you should feel bad.
I don't. I'm
I
apparently
know.
going to make all of the dad jokes to my kids.
Oh Lord.
My poor future
You're gonna take
children.
Are you gonna take your kids leprechaun hunting, Ashton?
Absolutely. I actually have a friend who grew up absolutely terrified of leprechauns because of a prank that his parents pulled on him when he was younger.
Oh,
I can't
Okay.
exactly remember like what happened, but I think they like set it up where the leprechaun stole his clothes and he ended up having to like set up like traps in order to like make sure that they couldn't like come back and like nobody ever told him that it was a prank. So he just lived in this fear of leprechauns for a good while.
I feel like that's kind of like the thing a lot of parents do with like Elf on the Shelf, and they just kind of use it to like traumatize their children. You seen that?
Yeah.
It's a pretty
I
new fad.
I have
Are you
seen
trying
that.
to tell me that the elf on the shelf is not a cryptid?
It's a demon doll or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't like them. They creep me out. Then again, anything that I think
Yeah,
could
they're
be
not.
watching me creeps me out. That's a very big thing for me. Don't like the feeling of being watched.
And it's very much implied that they watch you.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. They definitely want you. So we
Yeah.
know Ashton's answer. Leprechaun. She's gonna take her kids leprechaun hunting, so she believes in them. What about you, Andrew?
Am I going to take my kids leprechaun hunting, or do I believe in them? That
Those
Yes.
are very different things.
Yeah, those are very different questions. I mean, I don't
Yes.
know. I think there's more of a fun side to them, right? Like it's not always the mischievous thing. It's just the one that like brings you luck that Ashton mentioned. We didn't focus super heavily on that part. But yeah, no, I mean if they bring the luck, they could be fun. I mean, I sometimes I think about like going to the end of a rainbow, just really just to see what's there, like what it looks like from that angle. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a pot of gold there. I mean, I don't know if
I mean, why not?
yeah, why not, right?
I mean, you have just as much chance of finding a leprechaun as you do winning the lottery, so why not?
So what
Yeah.
about you, Sean? Do you believe in winning the lottery?
Do I believe in winning the lottery? Yes. Is it ever going to happen to me? No. Do I believe in leprechauns? Sure, why not? They're fun, and they're not. Not all of them are murderers.
I'd say
Murderous.
And
most
just
of them probably aren't.
and just because Sean told me that I believed in them, I'm going to defy him and say that I don't.
I'd expect nothing less.
Thank you again, our ghosts and goblins, for listening to the Night Stories. You all be good to each other. Don't answer the scratching at your window.
Or do.
But most importantly, stay safe out there.
Good night.